You're listening to the Casting for Fun podcast, the show that talks about entertainment, sports, music, and inspirational stories for all to enjoy. We're glad you could join us today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Now, here is your host, Albert Pineda.
This is the Casting for Fun podcast. I am your host, Albert Pineda, and this week's episode is for Wednesday, September 27, 2023, the 90th episode of the show. For this week, my good buddy, that's funny, my younger brother, Danny, will be joining me for the first time on the show. I really should have had Danny on much sooner on the podcast, but it's always great to catch up with family. And Danny and I grew up really, really close because we were such close proximity in age, and throughout our lives, we've had so much in common. So it's been really, really cool to discuss many topics with Danny. Our love for the TV show It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We talk about some football talk. Danny's a huge fan of the Philadelphia Eagles. We talk about our love of video games. We celebrate the 10th anniversary of the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was first released on September 24th, 2013. Very underrated show. I think it is actually a really fun, entertaining show. If you love Marvel Comics, love the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think you'll enjoy the show. It kind of got, like, I guess, not such a good rep when it was initially airing on TV, but I think it's actually much better than it was given credit for. So we get to talk about our love of that show, other shows and movies and entertainment that we've been enjoying recently. We also discuss the Google Pixel 7, which I just picked up, which I love getting the opportunity to talk tech stuff. I don't really talk tech enough on my show. Admittedly, my knowledge isn't the greatest, but I think it's very informative and cool and awesome and fun to talk about tech stuff. Don't be like me, though. I mean, the Google Pixel 8 is coming out a week from today, so maybe I should have waited to get that one instead. But I believe Google's actually doing an actual event too, so that'd be kind of fun to cover that. So I might consider that for a future episode. But anyways, yeah, my conversation with Danny is always fun, and it's great to just talk about the things that we love. Okay, so here we go. This is Danny Pineda joining me on the Casting for Fun podcast. So joining me tonight on the show is my younger brother, Danny. Danny, how are you doing tonight?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me. And sorry it's taking so long to invite you to the show.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, it's fun to do these podcasts, and I always love these kind of like random conversation ones. It kind of reminds me of conversations I've had with Nick, and then our other friend Sean Labano, where there's just so many things that we share in common that we can just really just talk about anything and just hit record. And I think it'd be entertaining for us, obviously, but entertaining for some of our friends and family too. So
yeah, definitely.
Okay, very cool. So let's go ahead and jump into some talking points, things that are going on that of interest to us. And yeah, I think it'll be really cool and fun. So you being a hardcore Eagles fan, your NFL season's kicking. It's we're about to start week 3 of the season, and your team are the Eagles. So how are the Eagles looking thus far to you as a fan?
They're doing good. I mean, it's kind of different these days. There's not much of a preseason, so they come in and start playing pretty rusty in the first couple of weeks. Today, we're recording this right after Monday Night Football. They won pretty good, pretty handily against a pretty good team. So they're looking pretty good right now. I like it.
Oh, okay, good to hear that. You know, earlier before the season started, ESPN had actually predicted that the Eagles were going to be going back to the Super Bowl, but that they'd be facing Baltimore and that the Ravens would win, though. But I mean, you never know with these projections from ESPN. But so far, I guess the Eagles are looking pretty good, right?
Yeah, looking pretty good. We got a pretty favorable schedule coming up. I mean, some of the more tougher teams, like the 49ers, we're going to get them at home, so probably get tiebreaker against them. So we have a good shot at going back. So it was heartbreaking last season. It will be exciting to get back and see what we can do.
Oh, very cool, very cool. And then actually, what I wanted to ask you was about the Kelsey brothers. So it's pretty interesting and cool that with last year's Super Bowl was the first time ever in NFL history that two brothers were facing against each other in the Super Bowl. And I don't know if you've been watching the documentary on Amazon Prime. They did a documentary on the Kelsey brothers, focusing on why am I drawing a
Jason.
blank? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the brother who plays for the Eagles, but also Travis is mentioned as well. So have you been watching that documentary at all, or are you familiar with
No,
brothers?
I know about it just because I know he was doing a documentary. He thought it might have been his last season, so he wanted to document it, but he ended up coming back this year, and so I just kind of gotten around to watching it. I mean, I will, and I want to, but yeah, he's a really good guy. Seen some of his interviews, and seems like it'd be a fun watch to see that.
Mhm. And it turns out the two brothers they host a podcast together, which is pretty cool. The New Heights is the name of it. So I might have to try and check it out. But there's already so many podcasts I do listen to, so it's kind of hard to catch up
Yeah,
on everything.
I understand that. And Travis is not my favorite person player. I think he talks trash too much, but
Oh,
uh,
okay,
yeah.
and I don't want to name names, but I mean, this past weekend there was rumors going around that he's supposedly dating a certain someone who I don't like. So let's just kind of leave it at
Well,
that.
alleged Eagles fan. So we squashed our beef. So she's allowed in my house now.
Oh, okay. Oh, very fun. Very cool. So, how was it again exactly that you chose the Eagles? I'm assuming it was probably from your love of the show, If It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but it's always just fascinating to me that so many people, like, throughout the country, because football's so popular, like they'll pick an NFL team and it turns out maybe they do have ties to that particular city or that team, or there's a specific player. So, in your case, Danny, what was it that drew you to the Eagles?
Well, it was actually before the show came out.
Oh,
I was
interesting. Okay.
actually a fan of their quarterback Donovan McNabb.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
so he the first year that they made the playoffs under him, like when he was the full time starter for the full year, he was just awesome. He led the team in rushing. He was a decent passer, um, and they did pretty well in the playoffs that year. And I just decided, you know what, I'm gonna be an Eagles fan just because I like this guy. And I
No,
stuck
okay.
with
Oh, very cool. Very cool. So I guess the show would just be icing on the cake thing.
him. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. So actually, going to Philly now. So just random topic that I wanted to bring up and segue into it. It's always sunny in Philadelphia is always fun. So with social media, I'm always like getting reels of like clips people post about It's Always Sunny, which is always funny to me. It's always great just to see that. And then on a random Philadelphia site or fan Instagram site for the show, they did a poll and they picked like the top five favorite episodes as voted by the fans. So I wanted to run it by you just to see if you think of what do you think of this list. If you have favorite episodes of the show that you wanted to bring up, I really should talk about It's Always Sunny more often. In fact, I'll probably have Nick on sometimes to talk about the show, but and Tyler as well because Tyler really enjoys it. But do you have any wagers or guesses as to what the fans would theoretically pick as the best episode of the whole show?
My guess, probably the Nightman Cometh.
That is number one. Yeah, very cool on the list. So I'll go ahead and run down number 5 to 1 just so you can
All
see
right.
and you can just compare the list and then episodes you would throw in as well. Number 5 that they picked was The Gang Buys a Boat.
Okay,
Number 4, the gang goes to Jersey Shore.
that's a good one.
Number 3, Mac and Dennis move to the suburbs.
Okay,
Number 2, Charlie Work. And then number 1 is The Nightman Cometh.
all right, that's a pretty decent list. It's only one of probably my top 10 is on it.
Oh, really? Oh. Oh,
And
okay.
that's the
So
Nightman
you
Cometh.
don't have to go over your whole top 10, but what's some memorable episodes that you would throw in?
Well, my all-time favorite is the one where Mac and Charlie fake their death.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's got my favorite one-liner in the whole series, but I probably can't repeat it on your podcast.
Oh.
But yeah, just the fact that that Charlie and Mac are just idiots and trying to fake their death, and they can't blow up the car. It's just good times. Also, another one of my favorites. This is like just a personal favorite, just because like around this time when the show was going, like my friends and I were really into the steroid scandals in baseball. So the one that they do steroids with Dee and Charlie, do steroids. It's called $100 Baby.
Oh, that's
It's
right. Yeah, yeah.
$100 Baby. So yeah, that one's like always one of my favorites just because it reminds me of that time.
Oh, very cool. Awesome. Awesome. Good choices for sure. One that I always just go back to, and I think is just really, really funny, is the gang cracks the Liberty Bell.
Oh yeah,
So just the whole scene where Mac and Dennis are trying to be British noblemen, and Dennis is trying to educate Mac. And they put
yeah,
on the whole makeup and outfits and everything.
yeah.
Flourish the pinky. Yes, for the tea. It's so funny to me. And I don't know if you watch the show. It's always I'm saying always. It's Welcome to Wrexham, about the documentary on the soccer team that Rob McElhenney bought with Ryan Reynolds.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Okay, they just did an episode because they're in their second season now. So just segueing this a little bit. They did an episode where uh, uh, Rob and Ryan Reynolds are gonna meet like British royalty, and they're actually trying to learn like etiquette and things like that and that nature. And I'm thinking, you know what, Mac, you've already done that. You did an episode of It's Always Sunny with Dennis. You should be an expert at this by now. But
Yeah.
so that whole concept was just funny, and it reminded me of that. So yeah, it'd be cool to actually put together a whole list of favorite episodes. Another one that kind of sticks out to me for It's Always Sunny is the gang gets taken hostage.
Oh yeah, I
Anytime they
love
have
it. I just
interactions with the McPoyles, I think.
yeah, the calls were so good.
And then the Halloween episode of
Who got me pregnant?
yeah, who got D pregnant. Yeah. So I mean, there's so many, but I mean, those are just kind of off the top of my head, thinking of episodes that I really really enjoy from the show.
Yeah, and then no, of course, my favorite moment of all time is the wild card.
Oh yeah, yeah. Very
So
awesome. Was there anything else about It's Always Funny in Philadelphia you wanted to bring up?
uh, mm, I can't think of anything other than if you wanted to ever do a best of list, I'd be down for that.
Oh, okay, for sure. Yeah, we'll definitely touch base with Nick, and we'll work something outside. I think it'd be pretty cool. Did you have any talking points you wanted to bring up? I didn't want to dominate the whole conversation because I have a list of other things I wanted to bring up with
Oh
you.
yeah, no worries. But I did see that you just got a Google Pixel phone, so I want to ask you how you liking that.
Oh, that's actually one of the talking points I wanted to bring up. Yeah. So, you know what? It's kind of interesting. I wish I had waited a little bit more because the Pixel 8's about to release next month.
Yeah.
If I just waited a little bit more, I probably could have gotten that one instead. But now I'm really enjoying the Pixel 7. For those who don't know, I previously had the Samsung Galaxy Flip 3. A buddy of mine showed it to me, a little over 2 years ago, and I thought it was really cool, so I wanted to get it. But I've had problems with that phone. Like T-Mobile, who's my carrier, they told us that if you fold it uh so many times that eventually you're going to get a crease in like the screen protector, and that T-Mobile wouldn't replace it. You'd have to go to a Samsung store. And I figured, oh, okay, yeah, they warned me ahead of time, so should be easy enough. But getting an appointment with the Samsung store and even finding one was such a hassle. So I've been using like this phone that has a nasty crease on it for so long. And then I had other issues with it where like one of the I don't know what you call that, but like there was like a thin pink line that went down the middle of it. I think because some of like the pixels were going out on the phone. So I had to have that replaced, and they could. And then I also had issues where if you shut the phone, it would actually turn off. So I both times I was able to take it to T-Mobile and get that fixed. But overall, the flip kind of gave me problems, so I wasn't really too happy with it. For anybody listening, if you do have the flip or the fold from Samsung and you enjoy it, please let me know or what your experience has been with that phone. But regardless, though, so the phone that I really wanted to try was the Pixel, and the Pixel's been great. I love the camera feature on it. I love using the Magic Eraser. In fact, I posted a picture on social media a few weeks ago of one of Avery's soccer games, where I was able to erase some of the girls on the opposing team. So it's a really great phone, basic for what I need, and the camera works really good. So that's what I really enjoy about the Pixel.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had the first one in four. My four died on me twice. So, like it wouldn't turn on at all anymore.
Oh, really? Oh,
After the second one, it was time for a new phone anyways. So I ended up getting a Galaxy, and I did not like it. I still have that phone. I have like another year and a half before it's paid off, but I'm itching to get back into the Pixel.
oh, okay. Yeah. So I'm really happy. This is the first time I ever used a Google phone. So my very first smartphone ever was the Evo from HTC, and then after that, I've just been constantly buying Galaxy, so Samsung phones. And then obviously getting the Flip, which is also a Samsung phone. So this is the first time in a little over 10 years that I'm using something that's not a Samsung. And yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So when the time comes 2 years from now to buy the next Pixel, and it seems like they release new phones pretty frequently, right?
Yeah, once a
So
year, I
I
think.
guess I'd be getting Pixel 9 when it's time for me to get a new phone.
Yeah,
If I
I'll
time it right
probably
this time, we'll see.
yeah, I'll probably get the 9 too when it comes out. I
Yeah.
just actually got the Pixel tablet for Father's Day.
Oh,
It's
cool.
been using that. It's good. I like it, but I'm not using some of like the Google Home features,
Oh,
so I'm
okay.
not like, using it to its full potential. But probably try to get that. But yeah, I'm enjoying having it.
Oh, okay, cool. There's a couple other little things I noticed about the Pixel that are pretty cool. Like in your contacts list, if you have the address of certain people, like for instance, I was gonna call mom the other day, and I have mom's home address, and then actually it was giving me information about the weather and everything in Arizona right now, particularly in her part of town, which I thought was
Yeah,
kind of cool and interesting. I'd never noticed that before.
yeah. I don't think that has it on the Samsung. I haven't seen anything like that.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there's lots of little things like that, which make the Pixel pretty cool. I'm trying to think what was another feature that I really liked. I like how the apps are displayed, like on the
Yeah.
Samsung phones. Like all the apps were just kind of random. Like I guess it was kind of more on the order in which you actually downloaded it, but now it's actually alphabetical, so it makes it easier for me to find apps, which I enjoy.
I of course know that there's the wireless charging. I don't know why Samsung doesn't have that yet.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I would say about the Pixel that it didn't come with the wall charger. So it
Oh,
came with
really?
the cable, yeah, and the cable was both ends were C ends. So it didn't make
Okay.
any sense. One of the ends should have been USB. I didn't understand that. So I had to buy a separate cable through Amazon, but I got it to me pretty quick because we have Prime with Allison.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I do highly recommend the Pixel phone. It's really, really cool. And for those who are looking to buy, hold off just a few weeks and you get the Pixel 8 instead.
Yeah. So I don't know if they because when I said I had two fours, one of my fours had the touchless wave. You can like next to song, like skip to the next song. Can you still do that on the 7?
Oh, I haven't noticed. I have to look into that. So I do subscribe to YouTube Music. So it's probably the preferred music streaming app because it's Google owned. So I have to
Yeah.
look into that, see if I can do that.
Yeah, I really liked like that where you can just hold your hand in front of the phone and then just wave it and then it skip to the next song. That was always a cool feature.
Oh, okay.
Never
I'm gonna look into that, see if I can do that. Yeah, that's something cool worth trying out. Awesome, awesome. So I wanted to jump into video games. I don't know. I mean, before back in the day, we would constantly talk about games and we would do online gaming as well. I kind of miss those days, but at the same time, I just don't really have time anymore. And I had to wait till the kids are in bed. So like right now would be the time I could play. But so I wanted to ask you, are there any games that you've been enjoying recently in the past couple years?
Yeah, so just this year, there's been a lot of games that have come out. Right now, I'm currently playing a game called Starfield. Um, it's just a big open galaxy RPG where you're just going around and different planets and you're exploring. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, is that for the Xbox Series
Yeah,
S? Okay.
yeah. So it just came out earlier this month. I know I've seen Brett play that a lot,
Oh,
like
okay.
my team online. Um, yeah, you just go around, people just helping people or being a pirate, whatever you want to do. It's and yeah, I've seen a lot of stuff on social media about it. Just a lot of the fun things that you can do. Like you can also build your own ship. So I've seen a lot of like the ships that people have built and a lot of creative stuff. Like people will make like the X Wings or the Millennium Falcon, stuff like that.
Oh, okay,
Um,
cool. Who's the developer of this game?
it's a Bethesda, so it's the same people that did
Oh,
this Elder Scrolls.
yeah. Okay, okay, cool, cool.
So it's kind of like the Elder Scrolls but in space.
Oh, okay. Sold. That's a cool concept.
Yeah, so that's fun. And then there was a Zelda game this year. Spent a lot of hours on that as well.
Oh, that's right. Tears of the Kingdom, right?
Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
It was and I know a lot of people say they loved it and it was all over social media, but I think it was a little disappointing for me.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah, just because. All right, so you had Breath of the Wild that came out like 5, 6 years ago,
Yeah.
and they reinvented like the Zelda formula and made it open world, and you can just go out. You have this big world you can go and do whatever you want. So what they did with the sequel is that they took it and they'd use the same world. So I was okay with that when they announced that, and I thought there was going to be like they were going to change like a lot, but they just didn't change enough of the world for me to make it interesting.
Hmm.
And instead of what they did is they added an underground and a sky, so it's the triple the size of the map of Breath of the Wild, but it just was not filled with very interesting things for me to do. I know a lot
Oh,
of people love that, but I just not find that interesting at all. So it ended up just being a kind of a chore to play through for me.
oh, I see. Okay.
I mean, it's a good game, but it's just wasn't as wow. It didn't have the wow factor that I was
Oh,
hoping
okay.
for.
So would Tears of the Kingdom like almost like literally be like a exact direct sequel to Breath of the Wild?
Yeah, it takes about 6 years after. Plays pretty much the same. They did add a couple like different abilities you can do. So, like one of the things you'll see on social media a lot is all the different things that people would build, where you
Oh,
can
okay.
attach anything to anything.
Uh-huh.
But they would build like these big robots or these cool like machines, like trying to make the Batmobile or something like that.
Oh, okay.
And those were still really interesting, but I found it was really hard to build stuff like that just because you can attach things to it at any point. So and if you were off by like a centimeter, like the physics would just be all wonky and it wouldn't work right and it wouldn't move the way you wanted to.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool. So I want to give it a try for sure, but I mean, first I even had to get a Nintendo Switch. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Monica. Avery's actually enjoying some of the games. We had friends bring over their Switch, and she played Mario Party and absolutely loved it.
Oh yeah.
And
Cammy plays Mario Party at her camp, so she always wants to come home. I want to play Mario Party. And then Mario Kart they played at her camp with Sue as well over the
oh,
summer, so she was playing that.
oh,
So
okay.
like, I ended up getting her own controller.
Oh, that's a good idea. Very nice. Any other games that you recommend right now?
um I did see I just like with 'cause I just had a birthday and Monica gave me some um a gift card for to buy some Switch games, and I just saw that there was an ActRaiser remake.
Oh, cool.
I bought it. I just haven't had a chance to play it yet, so that's something I want to check out as well.
Oh, okay. So it's an actual like port of a remake, or is it like a?
Yeah, so it's got the updated graphics, and I think like it's instead of like the city builder part, like it's more of a tower defense.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's like one of the main differences.
Oh, okay. Cool, cool. That's I think we were checking out too. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever get a chance to play the Spider-Man game on PlayStation 4?
No, I never got a PlayStation 4,
Oh,
so I
okay.
never got a chance to play Uncharted 4 or Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I was late to the party because I was able to the whole family, myself, Allison, Avery, and at the time when Callie was staying with us, we got selected to be part of this uh, uh, gift drive that people were doing to help honor families, and they really want to honor us for being foster family. So they gave us like huge Christmas like wish thing, which was really really cool. So I got a PlayStation 4 out of that, and I got to try get back into the gaming. I played Uncharted 4. That was an absolute blast. I loved it. And the Spider-Man 4 for PlayStation 4 is really really cool too. So those would be the games that I would recommend. But I mean, both of them are kind of older, especially Uncharted 4. So it's kind of like, yeah, what are you talking about, Albert? Those games have been out for a while, but for
Oh yeah,
me,
I
they were
haven't played
they were
them.
brand new when I was playing them. So
Yeah, I haven't played them, and I know I love Uncharted. I
yeah,
even went out to visit you just to see the movie.
yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite franchises, and I really would love to play it. Just I hear it is so good.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So then that being said, do you have your list of like your all-time favorite games that you would pick?
Um, All-time favorite games. I know my all-time favorite is Zelda: Link to the Past, one for Super Nintendo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I can play that every year. Same with Super Metroid for Super Nintendo. I play that every year, and Super Mario World. I can play that every year. Um, a lot of the N64 stuff that I was growing up on, I can't play anymore. They haven't aged that well.
Oh.
And I find like the controls to be just really hard to get back into. Um, so you have to skip back to and get into uh, well, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Xbox. So Halo, I still like.
Mhm.
I got into well, I played Gears of War 5. I really like that one. I guess that's the closest thing they had to Uncharted on Xbox. Um, that was fun to play. Um, and then of course, Breath of the Wild, I put a ton of hours into that.
Mhm.
How about you?
Oh, very cool. Yeah, so it's a good list of games there. Yeah, I probably would still to this day pick Uncharted 2 among these as my all-time favorite game.
Oh
Then
yeah,
closely
Uncharted.
behind that, I probably would pick Mass Effect 2. The Mass Effect series I just played constantly over and over again. Even the first one, of course, with the Legendary Edition, I think it fixed a lot of the problems with the first one. So that was actually worth going back to replay. The Mass Effect 3, I think, is great as well. And then Ocarina of Time is still just one of my all-time favorite games ever. But like you, I think sometimes I can go back and play those classic Super Nintendo games and just absolutely love them. Like they were so simple in their design, but so brilliant. Like Donkey Kong Country, I just play that over and over again, never get
Yeah.
bored. Yeah, and Super Mario World, and of course Link to the Past, which again is interesting, even with all the 3D Zelda games, that's still considered among like the best Zelda games of all time, which is pretty
Oh
cool.
yeah,
Oh, very cool,
definitely.
very cool. Did you have any other talking points you want to bring up right now?
Maybe later.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, so I wanted to jump into actually something I didn't even realize this. It actually happened yesterday. Yesterday was the 10th anniversary of Agents of Shield. So I wanted to just bring up that because again, we love watching TV shows like that. I can't remember if you were a big fan of the show when it was originally airing on TV.
Yes. Yeah, we
Okay,
watched it
okay.
every week.
That's what I thought. Yeah, yeah. So Allison and I did too. I introduced her to the show during season 2, and then we went back and rewatched season 1 on DVD. And then after that, I think shortly after that, we converted strictly to streaming only. So, but but yeah, it was really cool just to recognize that on September 24th, 2013 was the first episode being aired. So yeah, just 10 years ago yesterday, which was always great to celebrate these anniversaries. I do that all the time on the podcast. So Agents of Shield, I think, was a really awesome show. I think very underrated. I mean, it was kind of unfortunate that it wasn't perceived as being as good as the MCU. In fact, there's still constant debates as to technically whether or not it is canon. There is some things that happen that are against the canon of the MCU, but at the same time, with multiversal stuff, you can make the argument that technically everything is canon. It just takes place in a different universe. What were some of the aspects of Agents of Shield that you enjoyed the most?
And I really remember like the early episodes, like they were getting killed online. They weren't that good. And then once it started to get good with when they introduced Deathlock, um, that's when I really got hooked on it. Just a lot of the like different cameos of like more obscure uh, Marvel characters. That was really awesome. And then the whole tie-in once Captain America happened and everything like changed and Shield fell. That was just really good television, and the second season was just phenomenal. Um, and then they started the Inhumans, and fortunately, Inhumans flopped in the MCU. But uh, yeah, the different storylines they just came up were just really good. And then the fourth season, when they had three different storylines in the whole season, um, they had like the LMD, and I was thinking about that the storyline when I was watching Secret Invasion. It's just like there is no tension whatsoever in Secret Invasion, but in the LMD storyline on Agents of Shield, there was like tons of tension. And that's what Agents Secret Invasion was missing, just the tension that that show had. Um, and then of course they had the fifth season where they were in space in the future. They're in the future, right?
In season 5, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then they finally brought back storylines from the first season. That's also when they contradicted the MCU a little bit.
Yeah.
And then they canceled it, and then they came back, and then it was still good.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the two last seasons too, even though Coulson was dead. They brought him back in I thought cool and inventive ways.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ended like one of the better finales I've ever seen on television.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree. And then it was cool that the episode stayed fresh throughout the whole series run. Like, you'd have great episodes like I really loved when they introduced Deke And then, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., we find out in the 100th episode that he's the future grandson of Fitz and Simmons. And actually, just seeing the whole relationship develop between Fitz and Simmons was really great, too.
Yeah.
But when Deke got his own starring episode where he's in the 80s and he's the
Yeah.
rock band, oh, that was so funny. I loved it.
That was a good one.
So yeah, and Mac, yeah. So his dynamic with Mac, so all the new characters that they introduced, and then it's cool. You talked about tension. It was like there would be things that would happen that would get you talking. It's like, oh, this is really cool that they're doing this. Like for instance, the mid season cliffhanger for season 2, where again, spoilers, one of the lead characters,
Daisy Quake.
Yeah, Quake. I mean, she gets her powers, and it's finally revealed. Hey, so this character Sky that we've created for the show, we're actually going to use an existing comic book character, Daisy Johnson, aka Quake, who has Quake powers. And then I forget his name.
Trip.
Trip. Thank you. I was drawing a blank on Trip's name, and then Trip died, and Alice and I were so upset because we loved Trip.
He was a good character, and that was sad that he died. He was just down there trying to help her and died.
Yeah, so I apologize for forgetting his name. I actually really like that character. But then, as you mentioned, they did like the whole framework story arc in season 4, so they were able to bring him back and then bring back Ward as well, and the whole portrayal of Ward going back to the first season, like you said, I thought was just fantastic, just really cool tension building. So if you can get through those first episodes, which I admit were kind of slow, season 1 really starts to pick up when it gets to that point where it's like tying into directly what's happening with Captain America, the Winter Soldier. So for those who haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., I definitely recommend checking it out. You can catch the whole series on Disney Plus. And start from the very beginning and just sit in for a cool ride, because I think it's actually better than some of the Disney Plus shows that Marvel has done.
Yeah. So it's unfortunately true.
Yeah. Did you have anything else with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that you want to bring up?
Then they had they were going to do a spinoff with Mockingbird and I forget the guy's name. Her husband.
Hunter, yeah, Bobby and Hunter.
Yeah, that didn't happen. I remember saying when they were announcing that, it's like, no, just leave him on the show.
It didn't seem like that was going to be a good idea, and fortunately they left him alone, so that was good.
Yeah, but and like some of the villains that they had. Lash, the Hive, Talbert, Gavatron.
Mm-hmm.
Good. They did a really good job of villains. I mean, like a lot of the things with the MCU shows, they always have weak villains, and they nailed them in the series.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And then Bill Paxton's villain in the first season, like he was really cool too.
Everyone.
Yeah. So very cool. Yeah, I definitely can't speak highly enough of the show. I think it was really, really fun and really cool.
Yeah. I don't think it's canon, but I wish it could have been.
Yeah, me too. I mean, again, I was disappointed and sad when I heard that Coulson was going to die in the Avengers. And, I still blame Kevin and Bean because they spoiled it on the Kevin and Bean show the day the movie came out. I was so mad, but yeah. So it was cool that even though like technically I guess it's not canon, but they were able to bring back Clark Gregg to play Phil Coulson and put a cool team around him, even though like the thought was like, okay, this is kind of be like the B squad. It's like not gonna be as cool as the MCU. And in some cases it wasn't, but I mean I thought it was, for the most part, for what it was a cool show. So
yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Okay. Are there other recent more recent entertainment shows or movies that you've been enjoying like in the last like year or so?
I got into the Boys. Have you seen that one?
I've heard of it, no, but I haven't seen it myself.
Yeah, it's very violent, a lot of cursing. There wasn't a lot of like sex in the first. Well, there was, but it was kind of like tame. Towards the end of the third season, it gets kind of raunchy. They have a spin-off series coming out this week, Gen V. It's about a bunch of superheroes in college, and like they're trying out to become like on the main team. So I'm looking forward to watching. Do you end up watching a lot of stuff on Apple TV Plus?
Not so much, no. So we do have the subscription. I mean, mostly I use it to watch MLS games. I mean, I ended up watching last night's Galaxy game, which ran really late because there was like bad weather in Austin. So it didn't start until like 9:30, 9:45 our time. But yeah, mostly just for MLS games and then for Ted Lasso.
Okay. So, like Trish and I have been on a who done it murder mystery kick lately, and so they have a show called The After Party on it, and
Okay.
so it just finished up its second season. So just give you a quick window of the premise. The first season was takes place at a high school reunions after party,
Hmm.
where like this big loser in high school he comes back and he's like he becomes like Eminem or something like that.
Hmm.
He throws a big after party after the high school reunion, and he ends up getting murdered. So it's each episode is someone else telling their story in a different style of of cinema. So like the first person, his story is told like a rom com. Someone else tells their story. It's kind of like an action movie. It's told like a style of an action movie, and so forth. And that was really good. And it had Ben Schwartz was the only one like I knew beforehand. But it stars I can't think of his name, but he was in Ted Lasso. He was the Nigerian prince that was starting trying to start the Nigeria team.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the star of it. And then Tiffany Haddish is the cop that's investigating.
Oh, okay.
She actually does a really good job, um, and even better in the second season. Second season has Ken Jeong and John Cho in it.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so that was fun to watch those two. They're two of my favorite actors.
Hmm.
So that was a good show. Just trying to guess like after each episode we talk, me and Trisha will just talk about who we thought it was. So it's kind of similar also to that of Only Murders in the Building. I don't
Oh,
know if
okay.
you've
That's
watched
one
that one.
Alice and I watched. We watched that one. Yeah.
So we've been watching that one. We're trying to figure out who's the murderer for this season. And then we just watched in the theaters the A Haunting in Venice.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that one. No.
Yeah, it's based on an Agatha Christie book. It's like the third movie of the Hercule Poirot movie. So he also starred in the Murder on the Orient Express and Death in the Nile.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's like the third one of that, and it was fun. We saw it like on my birthday, and we were just trying to guess who the murderer was, and we were both wrong, but we still had a fun time just trying to figure out like who did it.
Oh, okay, very cool. That's good to hear. And trying to think for me, it hasn't really been anything like like hidden gem type of show because most of the shows that Allison and I have been watching, I think, are well known. So I mean, obviously, we've been watching Ahsoka, which Allison isn't into as much because I mean, I understand that it's covering a lot of like deep lore Star Wars stuff. That if you hadn't
Yeah,
watched the Star Wars Rebels
Rebels.
cartoon show,
Yeah.
you're probably not going to understand. So I'm going to save Ahsoka for another episode, probably with Nick Fernando and Chris Parson. But yeah, Ahsoka has been awesome. I've absolutely loved it. And then other shows. So only murders in the building. Yeah, we watched that one. Trying to think nothing else really right now that we're watching as far as like news shows, but um for movies just this year, I mean, I did a whole episode with Fernando and Claire talking about Across the Spider-Verse, which I absolutely loved. And the Super Mario Brothers movie was really fun too, which I also did an episode about. So those would be the movies I probably would recommend. I mean, they're both animated movies, but but yeah, yeah.
Oh, those were really good ones. So another show I've been watching, it just ended was Foundation. It's on Apple TV Plus.
Oh, okay.
That's it could be a little controversial if you get offended by unquote unquote woke stuff.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess it can be a little bit that way, but I still enjoyed it.
Okay.
Thought the second season was really good, and then I also been watching The Wheel of Time, which is
Oh, that's
another.
the one. Yeah, I put it on for Allison. She didn't like it. I think it was too dark and too like violent for her.
Yeah,
So I'll probably try and go back and rewatch it on my own time. But it's just kind of hard if we don't both like the show. Then it doesn't always work to watch it.
yeah, I've been watching that one. That's another one that's like a lot of people don't like because they changed the book, and then
Yeah.
it's quote unquote. I guess they'll call it woke, but I still enjoy it. I like it.
Uh-huh.
They just had a really good episode last week, so.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Very cool. But that's pretty much all the talking points that I had to bring up. Did you have anything else you wanted to discuss?
Um, no, I don't. I think I ended up asking everything I wanted to.
Oh, okay, very cool. So yeah, this is always entertaining and fun for me. So I hope people who are listening, if I mean, again, on my show, we primarily talk about entertainment. So if you heard of a new show or a movie that you haven't seen or a video game, which I'd imagine most probably aren't playing games, but if you are and you want to check out those games, or It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, watching the NFL, watching the Eagles play, I hope this has been entertaining and fun for people listening. And if you discover something cool that you wanted to share with me, please let me know, because I'm always looking for new things for entertainment purposes, which I think is really fun and cool. Well, if there's nothing else for tonight, Danny, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up. But thank you for joining me. And again, sorry that it's taken me so long to have you back on the show, have you on the show as first time guest, which I'm hoping that I'll be able to have you on many times in the future, because this podcast has been really cool and fun for me.
No problem. Actually, along the lines with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, have you listened to their podcast at all?
I'm sorry, which one?
It's Always Sunny podcast.
Oh, the Always Sunny podcast. Yeah, I do. I listen to theirs. It's actually been pretty entertaining and fun.
All right, I have to start checking that one out. I haven't checked anything out yet, but start listening to it.
Yeah, it's always cool to get their take on it, and it's run by the three guys. So Charlie Day, Glenn Howerton.
Howerton, I think so.
I think, yeah. I apologize for Dennis for mispronouncing your name, and then Rob McElhenney, and then they've actually brought Sweet D on a couple of times. So Kaylin Olsen, so Rob's wife, which is pretty cool, a couple of times, and they still treat her the same way like they do on the show, which is kind of funny. But all for comedy purposes. I don't know if they gotten Danny DeVito on this show, so I'd have to go back and re-listen to some of the episodes. I've missed some of the recent ones, but that's definitely a fun podcast to listen to if you like the show.
All right, we'll definitely check that out.
Awesome. Okay. Well, there's nothing else for tonight. We'll go ahead and wrap up. But again, thank you, Danny, and thank you to all the listeners. And you've been listening to the Casting for Fun podcast.